So we are back up. So anyway, still working out a few kinks on the stream here, just making sure everything works right. And especially since it's late afternoon, I'm only going to be streaming for another 45 minutes, but tomorrow I'll be streaming from 8 to noon and 1 to 5. See how well we can get along with this thing. Should only take about a week to get this thing modeled up relatively well. May even take 2 weeks. I don't know. It's going to take quite a few hours on this sucker to actually make it work properly. But we're still in the early sketch phases here, so I'm not too worried. Alright, so what we got here is an arch, an archway to actually begin looking at the galleries and what we can do with it, expanding it, obviously. Right now it's only basically the middle section food court of 80 feet. So let's actually move this over 80 feet. And then paste in place. We're just going to move one of these things back over here. Really? Well, we can just snap it. It doesn't really matter. I don't think there's more than 2 of these things there. No. For whatever reason, it didn't like doing what I wanted it to do. So we will make it snap back to 0 grounding. Then we will move it over. Because it's grouped as a different thing anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Let's just move it 80 feet so that it's one spread away from here. We can always move it again. It's not a big deal. Now, we have a backup circle and we have a main circle. And the backup circle we can actually do some interesting things with. So obviously a walkway is always going to be a good thing, and we want it to be slightly more tapered towards the edges. So what we want here for a walkway, because we're going to have to go up to the next level here, some way, in some fashion or form. And obviously you could have it internally, where it's inside here. You could have some escalators there. In fact, that might be the easiest way to do it. Certainly for the Trajan market, they did not have escalators. They had stairs and ramps, and it just they had the ground leveled where the bricks were laid on top, and it did a gradual ascent up, and it worked out pretty well for them. Just because the contours of the ground was awesome, and they leveled it off pretty well. Here, we're just doing an early sketch, so there's a lot of different stuff we could do here. I'm not... Let me think here. So we have... Because what we want here is we want a wide flaring base here to give us options on a lot of stuff, and then it goes narrower and then wider a little bit ish. Right, so wide, which is, yeah, wide, thin, and then if we do that, the walkway's thinnest here. Indeed, some of this could even be the walkway, but with the theater there, because any type of curtain for an actual production would probably be about halfway, because most theaters are a half circle. So if you do a theater, and these are the curtains, this would be post-production, or not post-production, but this would be production area stuff with the lighting up above. And if you do that, you have to think about this walkway here and back, because otherwise this is just a food court and this is a walkway. And with the walkway there, would you want to have the thinnest part of the walkway in the middle? What are you going to have in the middle? Probably going to have the most traffic, because as you get to the edges, I would assume you'd have less traffic. The center is where both ends meet, and thus probably the most trafficked area is going to be in the center. On the other side, people are going to be going down these stairs here from this area of the skyscraper as they go down the stairs into the main courtyard during the day, because at night they're going to have theater productions. So they go down here, and they use the stairs, obviously. There's a number of different stairs and whatnot, and gating mechanisms, all that fun stuff, so that you can have, you know, an actual theater production or a concert or whatever you want there. So you have that, and they go down here, and then what if they want to enter the market? Because the market's over here. And when I say market, I mean just a shopping plaza, shopping center-ish type of thing. It could be fresh market with fruits and vegetables, which would actually be really cool to have near a skyscraper, because, you know, that'd be terrific. You get your fruits and veggies, and then you shoot on home. And I mean, they obviously have that in the large cities, but not underneath skyscrapers. But no, in any case, you'd have the market sitting up there. And in terms of, because this is far below ground level, this goes down, but that'll all be done in the final models, which I'm going to be doing on stream. So so that does that. The market's up here. In terms of the walkway, because we're just doing a rough design that we can then use as a template to actually model everything. Do we want any specific walking routes or anything? Because there's going to be 3 or 4 different levels for the market. The market, honestly, would have, you'd probably go around. So if you're just looking, we can actually probably do a bottom level market design and go from there. Because if we do a bottom level market design, then we'll know, at least we'll have a basic template of what kind of walkways we would want. Because then we could just insert in whatever we want. So then we can just limit the bottom into different stuff, and then overlay it over the 200 foot by 200 foot. Do some elevator escalator design and structural engineering, and then add in the upper levels of the market, which should not be all that difficult. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So for the next 30 minutes, for the rest of the stream, we are going to be doing the bottom level market design, which should be fairly interesting. So first, we've got to have a walkway, because this stuff is all food court area that's pretty much reserved. It's only 80 feet across, though, so it's not too bad. So what we're going to do here is we are going to make this, I mean, if you're going to have people walking across, a 5-foot walkway, obviously way too small. That's barely 2 people. I mean, I think as you're getting towards the bottom, you'd want a wider walkway, because the density might just be larger. And you might have tables set up on the outside where people can just relax on the edge of the walkway. So that's not a bad idea either. So what we can do is, 5 feet is obviously 2 people. If we do it by 20 feet, that would be 8 people across. If you look at 8 people across, that does not seem very much. So let's just do 25 feet here, which is quite a large area. Could be too large, could be not large enough. I don't know. I don't think it really matters too much. That's the midpoint there. We're going to do that, and then we're going to basically where that intersects, we're going to do another 20 feet. So 25, 25, 20 feet, because you know what? I'm a jerk, and I'm not going to do 25 feet in the center, because I just think that's too much. Then we're going to do a 3-point arc, 1 point, 2 point, and that's definitely not it. 1 point. That's not what we want either. Right, it's just going to go the other way, huh? Really? I guess that's really not what we want either. We don't want that type of arc. Let's just do this. This one's going to be pretty simple. And it continually goes the other way. We'll flip the camera around and see if that solves it. And it doesn't. It just wants to go that way for some reason. We'll use this one. We'll use this one, and man, what is going on with these arcs? Point to point with the bulge. That's what we want. Point to point with a bulge. Bingo. That's what we wanted. We got it, Reddit. We got it. We don't want these separated though. And that joins them, so that's good. We do want this to have quite a few segments, so we're just going to make it pretty smooth here, just so that we have a good working environment. So let's make it 80. In the final model, it's going to have to be more than that, though. Looks like we haven't DC'd at all for 14 minutes, which is terrific. So decreasing the stream resolution seemed to work out for some reason. Maybe my computer couldn't handle it. My computer was like, no, don't do 10 by 80, 1080p. You know, don't do 1080p. It's like, don't do it. So that seems to have worked. For the theater, let's just this. That's the walkway, so that's fine. I think that's okay. We're doing the bottom floor here. Do we want a raised walkway? We can always change that later in the final designs. Obviously, the final designs, the devil is in the details, and it's always the details that kill people. Lots of people can have ideas, but the details, what really makes it different or not. So this is not grouped, that's not grouped, and this is not grouped. But we can group them together real fast here and just have them pretty much locked into place. Gonna make a group here so we can't touch them, so that's good. That does not need to be there. That's fine. So this is grouped and this is grouped. So that's good. This is a walkway. And the issues are that this goes back a long ways. So let's set up some extents here just for kicks and giggles and go from there. This at this moment is 130 feet across. Let's just make it another 35 feet here, 35 feet. No, let's do 35 feet there, 35 feet there. We can do another 20-foot walkway on top of this. And then another 20 feet. So 20 feet there, 20 feet there. That's 40 feet. Another 40 feet. So let's just do 3 layers here super fast and see where that gets us. 20 feet. We could just offset the other thing by 20 feet though. That would not be that hard to do. So let's do that. This is already grouped. Let's make another 3-point arc. Bam. Bam. Shabam. Let's select it. Let's make this 80 segments. And then offset this sucker by 20 feet. Because you know what? That sounds about right. 20 feet, 20 feet. And then this goes another 20 feet. Shabam. Alright, well, that's what you get when you do that. Obviously it's dirty and you're not doing it precisely, but you know what? It's all good. So you do that. And you can also do this, I guess, so that everything somewhat connects together. So those are the walkways, but those are the upper walkways. Let's reverse these. And then we're going to dump these up 10, 15, probably 15 feet. And then these go up then to that, and then it goes up above that another 15 feet. Shabam. But the underside, obviously, is not as large as that, because this is completely hollow. So we go up much higher than that. Let's go with 28 feet up here. And then let's do that, and let's do this one up 13 feet. Alright. So that's what it looks like. for the walkways, which are obviously going to not really look like that at the end of the day, but that's okay. And then we have something that's not connected. Well, that's a really interesting angle there. But this one's, I know why it's not connecting. But that's okay, because we don't necessarily want it connected either, do we? I don't know. I don't know if we do or don't there. But this shows us the upper stories pretty well. At least an idea of what you're gonna get. And then that goes out quite a bit. And you could change the angles of it and how deep it is and exactly how it wraps around. You can do all kinds of really cool stuff with it. Especially with combining different angles together and layering them. Alright. So that's looking fine. For the lower story, though, we're going to... What exactly are we going to be doing here? I'm looking at it and thinking about how to address the doors and the walkways. And to do that, you have a very wide walkway that I've made, which is fine. But then you're going to have different pathways going different ways. And from there, you're going to have to do a lot of different stuff. That's pretty tricky. Tricky. Which is why Trajan's market is obviously so well studied and so well known. They did it 2,000 years ago, and oftentimes people run into the same issues. And here, this is just a simple tiered market. You can do it angular, you could do it octagonal, but octagonal doesn't look as good as just a simple curve. Simple curve is often very elegant in its appearance, especially when you're doing an amphitheater right next to it. And you're trying to have stadium stairs that can be wheeled out and into these layers for a proper concert. I'm just trying to think through all of that, and we're going to be doing something along those lines where we can do that. We have the 25-foot walkways with two 20-foot walkways. And then we have the stadium theater platform, which isn't really that, it's the backside of it. So, but you'd want it open and then also be able to have underneath walkways where the people don't have access to it. The theater production company would have access to it. So you'd have some trapdoors in there. Then you'd have levels going up. And all this is going to get really complicated really quickly. So, walkways, bottom level, medium level, top level, upper level, all tearing up. And honestly, you could have it where it doesn't go sideways any farther. So at a certain point, I mean, you only want it to go sideways for so long before it goes back. And back is not necessarily a bad thing. And in theory, you could start it where it goes from the back into the market and from the market into the back side of it. And just do layer by layer and stack it. So what we could do if we were going to do that route, and I have some ideas of what would look interesting on the other side given this look, is you could have, so what you can do here is, let's move this over. 350 feet. And let's group this together so this doesn't go anywhere, which is fine. It's a good general idea of what we're doing here. We're making progress. And obviously, this is how far apart approximately. This is 210 feet apart, which is a really good space. Because I think trade centers were 208, 208. I rounded it to, whatever it was. Why is there a table there? Is that a table? I think it is. I didn't hide the table. Or I didn't hide the original table. That's getting deleted. It's too bad. So yeah, I wonder if the hidden stuff, the hidden stuff is still there. So that's good. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a floor level by floor level rough sketch of what we can do. However, I think starting at the, let's see, if we start at the top level, that would be kind of cool. Where we start at the top level in terms of what I envision the top level to be like. And then we go down from there. And then that would definitely present some issues. Or we can work our way up and go that way, which I think is probably going to be slightly easier. However, if we go from the top down, we can look at, we won't have to go backwards, I think, because in terms of the light and what we can do with different architectural design features incorporating light and spaces, we'd want to go from the top down. If we go from the top down, then we're basically carving into a flat block and going from there. If we go from the bottom up, we're going to be running into some serious issues, and I don't think it'll be quite as creative as going top down would be. And if we go from the top down, then we can do some interesting design choices in terms of the look. And then once we have the approximate look, then we can look at the steel structures needed to make that approximate look work. And then from the steel structures, make the final look and the final steel structures. And then going back and forth and smoothing out everything, which I think would be just fine. So what we can do is we can assume the top. Let's look at the hidden stuff here real fast and unhide something. We can unhide this, which is fine. And then go back here. And then we're going to move this over a bit here. Yeah, 150 feet. And if we're looking from the top down, the top is not going to be a square, obviously. But it will be, the final shape would be what we could do is we could make some fairly interesting shapes here, where what I'm thinking about is on the very top, right, and the outside. So top and the outside. What we could have is, say the building eventually comes out to 250 feet. So let's just do 250 feet here, right? And this is the demarcation zone of whatever. Right? Well, you won't see it right away, but say that's that, right? And then, you know, we have that, and that's all good and fine. But it, you know, doesn't go out that way. So say from there to there, it's 125 feet. Well, say we do it at 200 feet. And then say we do a series of step downs. So we're going to keep well, that's definitely not what I want, because then that bows outward, which does not look all that great. So what we'd want is a very well, it's going to have to be, that's not it. That's not it. Have to be oh, this is interesting. I have not seen that before. Sort of an interesting shape. It's kind of cool. Okay, well, whatever. I can imagine something that's stepped but curved, similar to an egg, but do I really want the building to be nicknamed an egg? I don't think we really want that. There are enough egg shapes made in China architecture where we really don't even want to approach that too much. But what you could do is do a step form where it's stepped, but the outside is a shell of glass, where it has some spaces broken up inside of it. So as this goes back, obviously it can just keep going back because this back part is not going to be very many stories high. So here, we can just make it this way. And for some reason it just doesn't like me, because it just doesn't like me, I guess. Okay, here we go, here we go. This is what I sort of wanted. This is perfect. Alright, so we don't want it bulging outward, right? And we don't want it that. So we could easily just make it we could have it do a two-step process here, where that might be the best thing. A two-step curve. Obviously you can do a much finer curve on Illustrator or CorelDRAW. And obviously for the final curve, we would want very precise measurements and curves. But we're not going to do that because this is called early sketch, and we're just doing the early adjustments here. So midpoint, go across there. Midpoint, go across there. That's the midpoint there. And that's the straight curve there. Straight curve there. We don't want it curved too much. But we don't want it dead here. So in theory, you want the midpoint of the midpoint of the midpoint right there. I keep on getting the wrong thing. And actually this looks about right? Where you're looking at something that looks interesting. And we can layer these shells on top of one another. And I think that might be the actual best look. If we do not do something that is so crude in terms of its shape. We want something that's aesthetically pleasing as possible. So what we can do here is we could mess around here a little bit here, looking at these different shapes here. I'll go over on terms of the stream time here today. I started late, and it's the first stream of me doing anything architecturally oriented here. That's going to be deleted, and that's going to be deleted, and that's going to be deleted. I'm going to draw a line across here. Real nice, simple line. So what we can do here is we can go from the outside in, which is really great. And we can look at this here, and let's just let's see what we can do here. We can, if this here, this is what we can do. This is grouped, this is grouped, and this is definitely sure as hell not grouped. So what we can do here is we can just quickly group this, and we can adjust the group later. So make group, bam. We're going to move this across here like this, and we're going to raise it up a tiny bit too. Let's see, this needs to be in the middle. Actually, this needs to be in the middle here. Oh, we'll get it eventually. Where's the midpoint? Bam, we got it. And then this sucker needs to be further moved to the back, the imaginary back. So we got it going another that's the very back there. Let's just send it back 90 feet. 80 feet? 90 feet. Oh, heck, we can always adjust it later according to whatever we want, right? And then that lays on top of that, right? And then this is the back side, right? And this is also the back side. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to toss this sucker underneath it. Because, you know, we can do it. We can do that if we want. That's the midpoint. This is not the front side of it, but this is the back side of it. So we dump that there, but we can also make it. We can make this all transparent and underneath, so we can actually see the lines, which is what we want. We want to be able to actually see the lines there. We're going to move this back to approximately the halfway point. So you can see where we're going with this as I layer each segment onto each other. And you know, do we really want it in the middle? I don't know. You can sort of see where this is going, even now, after an hour. So I guess we can just lay that there. And then we're going to change this view around here. Well, no, that does not do anything for us. I was mistaken. But what we can do is we can actually move this up, like, I don't know, 50 feet. So let's do that. Let's move this up, up 50 feet, up 50 feet. And we can adjust the group here, which involves, we could do wireframe, but I don't think that's going to help us. That's going to help us a tiny bit. We really don't want areas in between here, so we're going to kill them off here so we can see below, right? It's just easier this way, so we can see below everything. Okay, and then we're going to look from above here. Alright, so this looks good. So we have all of these layers below us, and we can see the lines at the forefront here. And we can mess around here with the shapes, because we can see how everything would be approximately layered in there on a very, you know, super rough scale, as if we were doing pencil drawings. And this is what a lot of architects do too. Just they do pencil drawings and sketches, and they overlay stuff and see how things fit together and everything. And I'm just doing it on SketchUp here, which is quite convenient. So we're looking at the top, And I think since I have my head tilted, everyone else's head is probably also tilted. So what we can do here to make our jobs a little bit easier is we can once more move this little piece another, I don't know, 300 feet. I don't even care. It just needs to get out of there. And then we're going to move all three of these. We're going to rotate these suckers after we move them. So we're going to move them approximately towards the center. Let's go with 100 feet. And then we're going to rotate these suckers over 90 degrees. So everything's still going to be just fine. And then we're going to look at the, well, definitely not that, but we're going to look at the top here. And then that is that. And now we can really look at how everything fits together and how the different shells will be put together. So obviously, we have to, once again, edit the group here so we can look at everything. And because this is a group, we're never ever going to be editing this stuff down here. We're editing this particular group, which is a sketch of how the outside facade will fit into the overall look and feel of it. I'm thinking a series of arcs might actually be really, really good here. I was thinking about before different things like a series of 30. Well, that's just terrible. 30-degree arcs, right? We could do 30-degree arcs here, and it wouldn't be too bad. But if we do a lot of 30-degree arcs, I don't think it's going to overlap very well. If we do 60-degree arcs, it's basically a sixth of a circle. So if we have a circle here, then it would be 1, 2, 3, 4,